Oh, holy crap. It's Thursday. It's a Thursday this time.
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday because we decided to do it on a Thursday and we skipped a week.
Well, you know, we got shit to do.
Hi, I'm Jacob Klag.
I'm Alex O'Connor.
And this is Dudes Making a Podcast. Just another two dudes dropping a pod. Here to see you two dudes making a podcast. How will these two dudes ever survive? What a beautiful song. Written for beautiful people who like to enjoy it.
That's true. This is true.
I hope after 20, this is 20. This is, oh my God, this is podcast 20. And we're doing it without video because we really
lazy.
think this one is.
I just don't look good today, and I didn't want it. You know, I look a little fat from the side.
It's the green shirt. That's what it did it.
You know, the green
But it's
shirt.
got wicking technology.
It does.
I can tell by the material and the sheen on it. So it's got that sweat wicking technology.
Oh, yeah.
I used to love those shirts so much.
They're nice. They're comfortable.
Yeah.
They're from a job I will not be at as after tomorrow, but that's okay.
It looks like a shirt that belongs to a bank.
Kind of.
Like it's not really like.
No, it's a small logo on the breast pocket. Yeah,
That
it doesn't have
exist.
a pocket, but the breast pocket, if it were one.
Man, a lot happened in the last 2 weeks.
Sure did. I went on vacation.
You went camping.
Yeah, I went camping, dog.
So how did camping go?
Oh, it went great. It was beautiful. That was the weekend we're here. It was like 90 degrees the whole weekend.
That's right.
And up in Bar Harbor, Acadia, where I was camping. Bahaba. It was a cool 75 the whole goddamn time. It was
that's
great.
wonderful.
It was wonderful. Yeah, it was beautiful. I like camping a lot, and we had a lot of fun. Did a lot of hiking, did a lot of, fucking around and camping stuff and just sitting by a fire and eating burgers. And it was great.
Did you bring a bunch of food for yourself?
Yeah.
Did you go fishing?
No, we didn't go fishing.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of fishing gear. And I don't hate fishing, but I'm not somebody who's going to go fishing alone. I might go fishing if somebody else likes fishing, but that ain't me. I'm not really a fishing guy.
I'm not really a fishing guy either.
I'd rather just sit in a chair and stare at the water.
I like it as a social activity. Like if you're doing it with somebody else.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if somebody said, "Hey, I'm going fishing. You want to come?" Hell yeah, let's do that.
Right.
But
you're not going to
just gonna go.
Hey, let me put my whole day off for fishing.
No, I'd rather sit at my campsite and look at the water and read
and not fish.
Correct,
Basically,
yeah.
do everything near the water but fishing.
Do the best part of fishing, with exception of
the waiting part,
not catching food.
I really like the waiting part. I actually don't care much about the part where I catch it and throw it back due to some weird laws where I didn't get a fishing license first.
I would like to catch and cook my own fish. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thing. I will say, so the campground that I go to is called Mount Desert Island Campground.
Yeah.
So it's actually Acadia and Bahaba is on Mount Desert Island. I think it's called Mount Desert Campground. I highly recommend it because it's got the perfect mix of you're out in the woods, but also you're 10 minutes away from a city. Not that Bar Harbor is like a city, but it's like a town or whatever. But and it has the cleanest bathrooms of any campground I've ever seen in my life.
Do they even not have that weird smell, that blue,
not really,
that blue disc smell
no,
that they drop in the urinals?
They don't. It's weird. All the bathrooms there, you go in and you think, oh, it's just going to be spiders and shit everywhere. And it ain't. It's nice. It's it's weird, It's just you go and you're like, wow, I didn't expect this. You expect it to be shitty. And it ain't. And I can't recommend it enough. All the campsites are really great. Especially because all the campsites we've gotten are right on the sound that's between the mainland and the island. So you literally have the ocean in front of you, and fucking gorgeous. I love that. I will say we had some neighbors.
Yeah.
We had some neighbors. We usually go there every year. It was canceled last year, obviously, pandemic, but we were able to move it, to this year without, putting anything down, and that's their way of saying we're not refunding your money.
Did you have a reservation for the campground? Is that what you're saying?
Last year, yeah, last year.
So you were able to just say, hey, can I have exactly the same time a year later?
I don't remember if it was exactly the same time, but we did get to pick. Unfortunately, we didn't get to pick the campsite we usually go to, which isn't bad because the campsite we got is just as nice and also on the water,
Sure.
But this one had some neighbors. Like, and all the campsites are relatively far enough apart. You're not on top of each other. Our last one was a little bit better because you did have neighbors, but they were kind of like, one was way down here, like almost down a cliff, and the other was a little bit off again in the distance. Whereas in the one that we had somebody like relatively close, maybe like 50, 60 feet away, something like that, you know. And it wasn't just one, it was like 3 or 4 sites that were all together, which is cool. If
Are
you
they
can,
renting 3 or 4 sites altogether? Is that
yeah,
what
like
you're telling
different
me?
people, like a friend
I'm
group,
sorry.
you know, like a
Okay,
friend
so
group.
your
yeah.
neighbors are people that know each other.
Yes.
So you're the odd man out.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's not that bad. It's not like we're staring at each other or anything. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like there's shit in the way, blah, blah, blah. And I will say what they did is right. If you ever have a chance to go camping with a group of people, you know, as long as you don't have the assholes that get too drunk and yell at each other, you know, that couple.
I do know that couple.
Yeah. As long as you don't have that, I highly recommend it because it's a ton of fun because you can just go off and do your own shit and then everybody comes back and, you know, has a dinner and you sit by the fire and you have a good fucking time. You know, it's great. It's a great time. But these were certainly a college-aged or just post-college, like somewhere in between 20 and 26, you know, like age range.
Not bad.
Not bad. Not
Kind of
bad.
useless. Kind of useless and also coming into their own of trying to be useful.
Correct. And
That's the behavior
they
you might
were
expect.
they were mostly very nice. I was a little annoyed because you're not allowed to have dogs off leash, and they all had dogs and they were all off leash.
And you had your dog, I'm
on
sure.
a leash. Yeah, on a leash as was right to do. Thankfully, their dogs were relatively well behaved. You know what I mean? So like I would have said something had the dogs been fucking destroying shit, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's a little annoying, but whatever. You know. But of course, every night they got together, you know, around a campfire and would talk, as you do. Most of the nights it was fine. But there was one night I was up reading, as you do, in my tent, because fuck you, I don't gotta get up at any time tomorrow. I'll wake up when I fucking do. That's the best part about being on vacation. So I'm just reading late at night, and then I can hear them, and eventually their conversation starts to seep into my brain.
Oh.
Now, some of this will not be clear, because I didn't hear the beginning. And there were points in time where I couldn't hear the full conversation. Definitely edibles were taken. That I know. For a fact,
Were
I
they
know
talking
edibles
about
were
that
taken.
out loud?
Yes.
Okay.
I noticed that at some point because I heard edibles, blah, 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 gummy bears, whatever they were.
Okay. So you're putting together the
Yeah,
context.
yeah. And now I'm reading in the tent. My wife's asleep. My dog's laying on top of us. It's too hot, so I got the sleeping bag thrown off. And I start. All I know is I just hear this one thing and I don't know how I caught this. Is this one guy is saying something? It doesn't matter what he's saying. I don't know what he was saying. And then somebody else responds to him and says something to the effect of devil's advocate, opposite of what you said. Like, he didn't say that opposite of what you said part, but obviously through context, you know what I mean?
Okay,
The
I
conversation,
see.
you know, devil's advocate, different thing. You know, like, you know, and I didn't catch
As you would typically expect
Yes.
from a devil's advocate, but he says it out loud.
correct, which is weird, but it gets weirder because the original guy who said thing and was devil's advocated.
We pull this card out of our wallets now. We just reveal.
there's a reason.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
devil's advocate.
So there's a reason
Opposite of what you said.
I'm prefacing it this way. Because that guy, I could tell, got real upset
Oh, boo-hoo.
about somebody saying the opposite of whatever they were talking about. So then, this guy, because you also know that guy, the guy who is leading the conversation and somebody tries to, like, second guess him. Now, all of a sudden, he's pissed.
I have some memories.
And he's got to do everything he can to now be the bigger man in this situation.
While at the same time becoming the smaller man by thinking he has to be the bigger man.
And it gets worse because he then says, why did you say the word devil's advocate? Yes, the word devil's advocate.
He's got a point. I'm there with him. Why did so-and-so say that?
Well,
It's clear that that's what's going. It is kind of a question of his intelligence when saying it aloud to make space for devil's advocate, as if he may not know what saying an opposite point of view might mean.
let's not forget the fact that these are broy douchebags.
Are they?
Yes.
So you got like a frat vibe
They're
going
all,
from
they
these
all
people?
have shorts and polos and flip-flops.
And also, well, whatever. I meant, I thought they might be traveling in RVs. Are
No,
they?
no.
No RVs
No,
to be
no
found?
RVs.
Oh,
No
that's pretty
RVs.
good. Okay.
all Teds.
Okay.
And of course, I wasn't on this guy's side because he said, "Why did you say the word devil's advocate?"
That's 2 words, sir.
That's you might say a phrase.
Yes, you might say,
might say a
why did you
phrase.
say the phrase?
Yeah, he did not.
Okay.
So he said the word devil's advocate, and the rest of the bonfire goes quiet.
Oh.
And I can tell they're just kind of looking at him and at each other. I couldn't see this, but I can tell that's what's happening. And the guy, the man who said devil's advocate, then says, I don't know, it's just like a thing you say, when you're trying to take the other side.
Oh, you're kind of finding out that this guy's dumb.
Yeah. And then that guy, the original guy, said, "Yeah, but why did you say the word devil's advocate?"
He still has a point. He does. Why did... Keep going.
Okay, so then this conversation devolves into talking about the word devil's advocate.
Oh, this is like how broken relationships argue.
Oh, yes.
Why did you say that the way that you said it?
Yes, yeah. And it devolves into original guy being upset, basically equating the word devil's advocate. He basically ends up saying, well, why did you say that? That word is something you shouldn't say.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, they come back and say something to the effect of, well, it's just like a universal thing. And they start to explain what devil's advocate means. They do it wrong. Because first of all, it's not devil's advocate, it's like, let me play the devil's advocate. And the point of that is to, in an argument with somebody, take the wrong side so that you can then have that argument and be prepared for
Yeah, it's
that.
it's not directly for saying the opposite of what somebody's saying.
Mm-hmm. It's to take the wrong side, the devil's side,
Yeah.
right? You're siding with the other side.
It's also kind of admitting that you kind of agree with what they're saying.
Correct,
but you're wanting to get them to open
flesh
up
out.
and try to maybe combat the opposite of what it is that they've got going on. Or
Correct.
maybe just a slightly different perspective.
It's more of a learning
maybe
exercise.
for sport.
Yes.
It could be for sport.
Correct. It's more of a learning exercise. It's more of a, well, if somebody takes this point of view, then what do you say, right? But
Sure.
they end up saying like, oh, well, it's a universal phrase, basically saying, oh, I'm saying something the opposite of what you think, which is wrong. But then original guy starts being like, yeah, but that word is used to belittle people and to disenfranchise them that are out there, and everybody else starts being like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
It's a universal thing. And then other guy goes, well, the N-word used to be universal. And then the rest of
really
the crowd,
fucking say
yes, he said that 100%. And everybody else says, well, it still is. And he goes, no, it isn't. And they're like, yes, it is still universal. Like, it's not universally used, but universally understood
Everybody
what you're
knows not
saying
to
when
say
you
it.
say this.
Yeah.
So that's why I said devil's advocate, because that's a universal thing I could say. So, I mean, in a real thing, you would understand I'm not arguing with you. I'm trying to present a different point of view. And then original guy goes, well, my brother works for blah, 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 some tech company, and apparently they say that you're not allowed to use the word devil's advocate because it belittles people. And they're like, what are you talking about? And then he says, there's been books written about this. How do you not understand?
What books?
Yeah. How do you not understand where I'm coming from? And everybody else is like, what books are you talking
What
about?
books are you talking about?
Who are you belittling when you say devil's advocate? And he goes,
Christians.
there's books written about it. Go read them. And my brother works for a shitty tech company, and that's what they say. And then the rest of the crowd just ends up going, well, that's a weird shitty tech company. You really shouldn't be paying attention to what they're saying. They're doing bad stuff anyway. And he's like, there's books written about it. You shouldn't say that word. And they're just like, okay, I guess I won't say the word devil's advocate. And he's just like, thank you. It just really upsets me that you're saying that word. There's no reason to use that word around here. And it just kept going. It kept going. It was insane. Not one time did anybody say the phrase devil's advocate, but the word the entire time.
Everybody got stuck on the same tangent.
I was reading, and it was, I've never wanted to scream from a tent before. I've never wanted to be like, that's not what it means. It's a phrase, it's not a word, and this is what it's for. You idiots. So that just went on all night, and I was just half laughing, half crying, like just, whatever. And to top it all off, I got to be there in the morning when original guy woke up and joined the rest of the group and said, I'm really sorry about last night, guys. I think I had too many of those gummy bears. And the whole rest of them were just like, no.
Nobody wants the apology.
Yeah, just kept going.
They just wish it didn't happen.
It was insane, and I knew, and the whole time, because, me being me, I know that it's just that guy who started getting upset was just so mad that somebody interrupted him that he couldn't leave it alone, and then had to fabricate a whole world in which the word devil's advocate is as bad as the N-word.
You think he...
had to fabricate this world just to be his side, to be his point of view, and it was glorious. I will never forget it. It was amazing.
So you think that whole thing was actually kind of just made up?
I mean, I'm sure.
Do you think that was like the ego coming out?
100%. He very well may have heard at some point something about, the phrase devil's advocate is kind of shitty, because, if you're using it incorrectly, then you're just being like, fuck you and what you say. And, sure, that there may be a tech company out there that says, don't use the phrase, let's play the devil's advocate. It just, what also completely confounded me is nobody brought up religion, because that's like the one situation where I could see it actually being offensive to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a hardcore Christian, it's like, well, why are you going to take the devil's side, asshole? Like, I don't know, it was absolutely insane. And I just, the whole night, I'm just listening to these fucking idiots, and it was great. It was great. I will never experience that again. It was his ego totally just being upset.
I mean, I can see that coming out if you're
high on edibles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You were making me think about like the last time that I've actually been camping.
Ooh, when was the last time you went camping?
The last time I remember going camping was when I was ending high school.
Oh.
And I got both my best friend and his girlfriend at the time to go camping with me. And it was like a last-ditch effort to...
like, have a fun summer.
Kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like that.
To get with your best friend's girlfriend. That's what it was. Last-ditch effort, baby. Hail Mary.
I don't
Threesome
really
in
know.
the woods. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't really know. I think it was mostly because the two of them were my best friends at the time.
No, I'm sure.
And it was an awkward camp. I mean, to be honest, it was an awkward camp.
Yeah.
And it was very hot that weekend. When we were closing up the day that we had to pack everything back into the car, that was the day it was like 95. And we had been drinking for the different nights before. I think it was like Smirnoff Ice at the time.
Sugar!
Yeah. Which provides a terrible not really getting hungover. Yeah, not really getting hungover quite yet, because it's you're a bit too young to really experience hangovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, you can tell that your body doesn't like that much sugar and not having hydration. And I remember setting up this camping trip, and things were definitely awkward between me and these people. I'll admit that. I'll you know what? I should just be honest about this whole thing. Things were emotionally
Rocky.
Things were emotionally weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know what all of it really meant.
The weird fluctuations of.
I just know that the mother of
teenage hearts.
I know that the mother of the girlfriend who I was very close with. I remember somehow becoming.
You were close with the mother or the
with
girlfriend?
the mother of the girlfriend. I wasn't very close with the girlfriend. I was very close with
weird.
the mother. Yeah, because she used to play therapist, I guess.
Yeah.
Me and her had like 3-4 hour long conversations.
Sure. Yeah. I was that friend
just existing
where
you know,
I would
like-
hang out with the parents of the kids that I was hanging out at their house with, you know.
Yeah,
So
and then
I
the
understand
other
that,
people
yeah.
would go off and do their thing. You
Yeah.
know? So I guess you're like looking for wisdom or something. Maybe that's what that was. And she had some, to be honest. She did. Her whole thing, though, the reason that this was kind of like awkward, and then it was brought to my attention that it was awkward because I didn't really realize that it was.
Yeah,
I think
you
it
were
was
just
kind of like a
hanging out, yeah.
subconscious thing to go and do this this last ditch effort of being like, we got to make memories.
Memories.
Yeah, we got to make memories. We got to be extra close and like
Yeah, of
remember
course.
this.
Yeah, you're leaving high school. You got to have a bash. You
And
gotta
these are
blah,
the people that I always spend the most amount of time with. And like, you know what? Because we were in a band together.
Ah.
Right, me and this guy.
Ah.
And we were close in like a dirty way. In fact, I got a lot of psychological
Dirty
problems probably because of him. Yeah, well, like, okay, so like, there's a lot of weird stuff with this guy when I think back on it. But I used to like, I never really
You didn't think
knew
about it at the time.
I didn't
of
really
course.
know it.
Yeah.
I didn't really know it for a long time, but like I like showed my dick to him, and like he
What
made,
else are you gonna do?
he like made fun of me and stuff. Like he was really mean.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends like that
And,
I showed my dick to, and they made fun of me. No, I'm kidding. I
We,
know
like-
what you're saying. I know.
We like jerked off in the same room together. It was
It's a little weird.
yeah, it was definitely weird. And then like just he introduced me to a lot
Shout
of
out to
stuff.
all my bros. No,
He used to like he would used to try and kiss you and then like pretend like he was just trying to make you look gay, and then he would be like, "Why didn't you
but
like
that's
it?"
just high school shit. Like
It is.
They did that.
No,
all,
but
yeah,
he was
people
doing
did
like the
all
Bam Margera thing.
that. Yeah, no, I know.
He was
yeah.
doing like the I love jackass, I love skateboarding, I'm the Bam Margera
I'm gonna
guy.
push the boundaries.
Yeah. It was that kind of nonsense, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Which was confusing, I guess. But the a lot of things out there all of a sudden. No, but so like going to have this like last ditch like hangout or whatever. Oh no, I remember when I got my like college, when I got my my acceptance into college.
Mhm.
I told him about it at a drumline thing that
Okay.
so they were like the pit band, and I was a guitar player in this pit band for a minute because they had invited me to be a part of this thing. They needed a guitar player, I guess,
And
or
you were a
whatever.
guitar player,
And I
yeah.
said, sure, it'll be fun to hang out with my friends. By the way, not fun to be a part
No,
of
sure.
Color
Of
Guard.
course not.
Color Guard is not fun. It is competitive, and it is dangerous for your mind and
It's
your
weird.
ability to be able to,
It's very
to
weird.
handle yourself.
It's like chill out. You're throwing flags.
Yeah.
Everybody calm down.
No, but they're not gonna.
I know.
They're not gonna calm
Yeah.
down in the slightest.
It's because it's the only thing they're good at, and they don't want to admit that it sucks. I'm kidding.
It has some. It also has.
I'm sure you were great at devil sticks.
It has. That's what people went on to do from Color Guard.
Yeah.
That is not what they did in Color Guard,
Okay.
as far as I remember. So, anyways, it was at a meet.
We all
and-
had a yo-yo.
and stresses were high because it was very competitive that
Uh-huh.
day. And I showed
Might
him.
ruin the rest of your life if you don't win Color Guard championship.
I showed him and his girlfriend the acceptance letter, and he had to like step away and go cry for a minute, but wouldn't admit to it.
What an ass.
Well, yeah, because I think that there was a closeness between us that was never addressed. There was like a dirty closeness.
You don't have to call it dirty.
I'm calling it dirty.
Call it confused.
I'm calling it dirty because of the fact that he was kind of an asshole, and
Calling it dirty because there was a lot of brown water.
I don't
you know
really
what I
like.
mean?
I don't really like him in the long run.
I know, I
think
know,
if
yeah.
I think hard enough about him, I realize that he was a real bastard, and he also was a bastard.
Yeah, sure.
But that probably explained why he was a bastard. So
Being a bastard, does explain that you are a bastard.
might actually end up playing into being one.
No, it doesn't.
Point is, we ended up going on
I
this.
can promise you.
We ended up going on this camping excursion, which was all hot and sweaty and drunken and like having a fire or whatever. It was on a lake too. It wasn't even on like it wasn't out by like the ocean or anything.
Yeah.
And those those different setup. They got like the grill that's like pounded into the ground and all that stuff. We didn't have any neighbors. Also, we were all separated out and whatnot. And I think we even brought like kayaks and shit.
Yeah, it's cool as hell.
But it was just it was a weird, it was a not so good thing to have done.
Because now you're just stuck with these two people that you already have some awkwardness with.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to alleviate that awkwardness.
I forced them into me being the third wheel.
Yep.
And
now what do you do?
Didn't even really realize that that's what I had done.
Yep.
So it makes it all the more embarrassing.
Could have brought at least one other friend.
Probably should have.
Yeah.
To be honest, that would have made things less like, oh, I'm watching the two of them like enjoy each other. I'm basically like,
enjoy each other's
I think all I was
bodies.
doing was like, you know what? I want to hurt one last time.
I need to feel the pain. Rip off the Band-Aid, baby. Out in the woods with nature. Maybe I'll fight a bear.
I don't know what the fuck. But that's the last time I went camping. I've been like to ride the lake on like rafts or whatever.
Yeah.
And I actually remember a very clear image of like my last relationship where I was told we were going riding down a river. And by the way, I hate being in the sun for long periods of time because I have very light skin and sunscreen.
Motherfucker Caucasian.
Sunscreen doesn't do enough. And it's just uncomfortable, and
Sure.
I don't like it. But you're out there, and this stupid fucking trip. I swear to God, I was so mad.
Awesome.
I was so mad.
I can tell.
That I have like a simple raft, and then they're riding on this giant golden goose, like way too big.
Like that you'd have in a pool. That's way too big.
Yeah. Except now it's a torment that has to be forced down this river because it's shallow in places.
It's also not made for what
it is not made for it. And there's like a rope tethered between the two of us, and I keep having to work the fucking goose along the stupid fucking lake. The river. Sorry, the river. And I remember actually, like, during this whole time, I said out loud, I said, you know what? This is the perfect metaphor for our relationship. You see, you got me in my practical canoe trying to make it down a river with you weighing it down and a big, stupid golden goose drawing
Inflatable.
attention to itself that won't fucking make it already.
Yep. I see it. I see it. Clear as day.
Anyways, that's all I have to say about that.
We used to tube down rivers in Binghamton a bunch of times.
I bet that would be a great. Did you start at like the high point of a river?
Yeah,
and
of course.
you knew where the ends were.
Yeah,
because that's kind of a fun trip if you know what's going
it was
on.
Great.
You know?
Well, what we would do is we would actually just take inner tubes, and we would lash them together with a net in the middle, like so that you could then put all your supplies in the middle,
That's
and
smart.
everybody's hanging out, and you fucking go down, and you got your beers, your weed, your chips, you know what I mean, like, and you just fucking lazy float down a river and flip off the cops as they drive by because they ain't gonna get you. They're not getting in the river. Yeah.
Well, do they care anyways?
They don't.
Well, they're not going to take the effort to go and grab Mr. What's the game fishing game guy to get his stupid boat out there and come after
not
you.
Gonna happen.
You kids
Can't
with
be
your
doing
coolers.
this. It was great. There was
You
actually,
better not have Coors Light in there.
There was a spot where we would usually stop and end it, and that was literally a spot where you could crawl out of the river, and there were 2 gas stations that you could stock back up on stuff, and either go back into the river and keep going, or call somebody to pick you up. It was great. It was awesome. I missed that.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it was great. I had good times. You had bad times. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We've all had bad times. I wanted to mention this. This will be quick.
Okay.
Just because you had mentioned kids recently.
Oh yeah, the last podcast.
Yeah, on the left.
Unruly children.
Unruly children. And it sparked my memories later on. Just because there's something so, like, freeing about being a kid. Like, when you don't know things will just kill you. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't have any worry.
Yeah.
You don't think about having insurance.
Correct. And I'm actually talking specifically about, like, 11 and 12-year-old.
Okay.
Because
it's about the time where you start learning about adult stuff.
Yeah. But just before it really hits.
Yeah.
And I briefly explained like my old band situation where we were in like the basement of an old department store, so it was all like cement if you went outside of the spot that was actually made for like band studios, and it ended up being like a paintball thing and blah blah. It was great. But in our band space, we shared it with a bunch of other people. One of those bands was a band called Elevator Death Squad.
I like it already.
They were very cool. A lot of very cool. You know, obviously, kind of like a better Lamb of God-y kind of thing. You know
What? That's a strong statement.
Yeah, I know. Well, for me, I liked it better. Yeah.
Okay.
Great guitar work. Great. You know, just a lot of fun. And one of the members, T, because his name was Tom, so everybody called him T. He had a son that was like a good, again, 10 or 11 years old. Now, everybody in Elevator Death Squad was imposing in some way or another. You know, either short and muscly, super tall and skinny, like that weird like meth head strength look to him, or you had Neil Hendrickson, who's my tattoo artist as well. But he's a guitar player, and he looks like Zakk Wylde if Zakk Wylde were actually imposing. And I mean, he's actually tall. Zakk Wylde's short, and he's got some.
Is Zakk Wylde short?
Yeah,
I've
Zakk
seen
Wylde
him live
short.
before.
Yeah, he's short.
He's
Not like 4'2".
Does he keep short
but
people
he's like,
around him?
Probably. I think
so
he's
that
like
he
in the
doesn't seem too
5. You know, like in the 5'7", 5'8"
Under
area.
5'10"?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, we'd have to check it out. But I'm pretty sure Zakk Wylde's short. Anyway, he's shorter than Neil fucking Hendrickson because Neil's a big dude. And I don't even mean fat. I just mean like buff and tall. But other than that, looks exactly like Zakk Wylde. So just picture a bigger, cooler Zakk Wylde.
Just take the jacket off and he already wins.
And Tommy's son, I can't remember his name, would be there every now and again, and he would rip Neil mercilessly. I have never seen balls on anybody like say this kind of shit to this kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're friends with them, you want to be a little careful. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And he would, I'll never forget, he'd do things like, hey, Neil. His name was Neil Hendrickson. Neil would be like, yeah. He goes, you know that wrestler Triple H? Yeah. Well, you're like him, except you'd be hamburgers and hot dogs Hendrickson. And he'll be like, what? And he'd be like, yeah, you know, triple bypass. And you're like, whoa! Jesus Christ! This man could tear your head off. You could destroy him. One of the best I ever saw was he went up, hey, Neil, do you know Little Debbie, like the snack cakes? Neil's like, yeah. Well, you're Big Debbie. Which is fucking great. Well, you're Big Debbie.
This fucking guy.
This kid, I just like every time he would bust one out, you just be like, that's insane.
He must be thinking about them the entire time he's hanging out with him.
Must be. There's
Just
no way
looking
he's
for a
that
new one
quick.
in his head.
You know, there's no way he's that quick. But he'd just like store him up and then just fucking yell him out.
It sounds like he really liked him.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. But it was
Neil Hendrickson.
glorious. You know Little Debbie snack cakes?
Well, you're Big Debbie.
You're Big Debbie. Just fucking God, that's good.
Oh boy.
I'll never forget. And it's just like, man, that kid's gonna die someday. If he don't learn quick. Yeah. It's great. Great stuff.
So we did a show here.
Yeah, I've been wondering about that.
We tried. So we did a basement show here, and as far as the first time ever doing a basement show after everybody's starting to be okay with the idea that a pandemic is over, we had, you know, what I consider to be a reasonable amount of people that showed up. There's not a lot of people.
Well, it's your basement. What do
it
you
was
want,
like
10?
eight people plus
there you go.
the 6 members of the band.
Yeah, that's
Plus-
decent.
Yeah.
For a house show for the first time.
For the first time ever. Yeah. You know, not the greatest. But
Well,
the
especially
performance
during
was great.
a potential pandemic, you know?
The performance was great.
Good.
Yeah. Well,
What
some
band
people
was it
didn't show
again?
up. It was called Bitter Pill. I hate their name, but I like the band. Yeah.
Was that the ones,
Yeah, that's
the
fair to
people
say.
you saw
Yeah.
recently? I think you told me about that.
Yeah. We went
Yeah.
to go try and see their show, and we showed up at the end of their show. And then we
yeah.
said, well, we'd like to hire you anyways.
Yeah. Cool.
Anyways, so it costs $5 to come in because I'm paying the band to actually play.
Did you make or lose money?
So I figured, I lost money, but it doesn't matter. That's not the point.
Okay. All right.
The point is $5.
Yeah.
In a basement.
Easy.
$5 to a basement show.
That sounds right.
And they have, they tell me that there's a guy who is their photographer for the evening.
The band?
The band does,
Okay.
yeah. And this guy shows up, and he says, "Hey, I'm working the event." And I'm like, "Well, you got $5?" And he goes, "No, I'm working the event." And I said, "Oh, so you don't have $5?" And he says, "No, I don't have $5. I'm working the event." And at that time is like pulling out his credit card, because I said that you can pay. I go, because you can pay with a card if you don't have cash. And he pulls out his card, like daring me to take it. And then I find myself looking at this guy, and I said, "So you're telling me that you don't want to support the band for $5?" While he's dangling the card in front of me. And I look at it, and I look at the people around me, and I'm like, "What event are you talking about, sir? You're working my house." You are working my fucking basement.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, all of that rage built up inside of me, and I just said, forget it, just go on ahead. I was like, why? Like, why? Why fight that
you are
battle?
in the wrong.
Why am I in the wrong?
Because he's taking photos of the band.
No, he's not. And here's why he's not. Here's why he's not, Alex.
Okay.
Because you don't show up to a thing that you're working and pull your iPhone out and say, "That's the fucking camera for the night."
Yeah, okay,
That's
you got a
just
point.
some
Yeah.
dick
No, yeah, you got a
who
point.
shows
Okay.
the fuck up
All right.
places and says, "Oh, I don't have $5. I'm working an event." Yeah, you're
That's
working
true.
my ass is what you're working.
That's true. If you come with an iPhone,
Yeah,
yes,
no, you show up
pay.
with a DSLR, maybe I
Yes.
give you a little bit of credence for being a fucking professional, but you're not. You're just some fat, lame piece of shit who doesn't want to pay $5
I was gonna say you probably didn't pay when you were roadieing for the wedding band.
What do you mean?
Well, I just
Pay
mean
to get into the wedding?
Yeah.
Who pays to get into a wedding?
people.
How often have you paid a head fee to get the fuck into a wedding? You tell me.
Well, I'm sure they played something that wasn't a wedding that was fucking money at some point.
Who, them?
Yeah.
Well, why? They
don't
didn't have
know.
they didn't have a minimum. I paid them what I decided to pay them.
No. I meant the wedding band.
The wedding band cost $10,000.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what the wedding band costs.
Yes.
To play for 3 hours
Which is crazy.
and bring all of their own equipment and
Which is
set up
crazy.
at different fancy locations.
All I'm saying is, if somebody's actually working for the band, yes, you get into a show.
But they're
for free.
not working for the band.
I realize that now.
But you immediately took the side
Yeah.
of the guy who said he's working the event and doesn't want to pay $5.
I mean, the band. You said
First
the
off,
band did
hold
say
on.
we have a
No,
photographer coming.
they didn't.
Well, that's
They
how
said,
you said.
we're having a guy show up. The guy's going to show up and he's going to take some pictures.
Yeah.
They didn't say put him on the special list. That means he doesn't have to pay $5. Let alone the fact that he's bringing somebody along with him who is not working the event.
I mean,
so
that's
you're
not-
working the event, but the person that with you ends up getting a free pass.
These are all parts of the story you didn't
It's
tell me.
$5.
Yes, but if one were actually working the event,
It's
the
not
event.
an event.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not an event.
Yes, it is. A
No,
house
it
show is an
isn't.
event.
A house show is an event.
Yeah.
Then you tell me ahead of time that a guy who's going to take photos is showing up to the event. He doesn't have to pay $5. You don't tell me the night of that there's a guy who's coming who also has his girlfriend or daughter or / wife. I don't fucking know because I couldn't tell because he looks as old as fucking dirt while this lady looks like anything. Like, who the fuck knows? You don't tell me that and then also not tell me that they've got another person who's also not going to pay $5.
You did hire a local band,
I did.
and you did preface it by saying this band said somebody was coming to take photos.
No, I didn't. I prefaced the story.
That's what
so
I'm
I gave
saying.
you false information.
Correct.
All right, fine. Either way, he didn't pay
Yes,
$5.
if somebody shows up and says, I'm working the event, and you're just like, no,
The
what are
reality
you talking
is,
about?
when he dangled his card, I should have called his bluff and fucking charged the damn thing for $5 fucking dollars.
$5.
Yeah, I should have done that. And then had him be, because he was upset either way.
Of course, yeah.
He was already pissy because fat people don't like to be sweaty.
Yes.
And that
That's
was
true.
already happening.
I hope they're good iPhone photos.
They weren't.
Of course they're not. Of course they weren't.
Yeah. And they only worked half the event doing the photos. So
Yeah.
you didn't even work the whole hour. So
Well,
really.
and also, bringing a second person, that's a whole other thing. Where you're just like,
It is. Because the reality was, hey, we're hanging out. Because you
But
know
also,
what they
local
said.
band.
You
That's
know
you
what
get.
they said to him.
Yeah.
They know what you know that it wasn't like something that they were going to take seriously.
Probably.
They weren't taking it seriously. It didn't really matter. And it doesn't matter that you weren't taking it seriously, but it's the fact that you told other people you weren't taking it seriously, which meant that you were disrespecting the fact that you were getting
the event.
paid.
You were disrespecting the event.
No, but you were told that you were getting paid.
Yeah.
And the amount that you were getting paid, actually, the way that I researched what I was going to pay them was originally asking them, hey, do you have a minimum that you only get paid now? Where are you guys at? What do you have going on?
Said no.
And they said, no, we just do whatever.
So,
So
said
they're
$20.
used to doing gigs for no money.
Yeah, of course.
All right?
We're
At
all aware
all
of this.
kinds of different places, which is what the fucking regular music system is going on anyways.
Yeah.
So when you tell somebody, well, what if I pay you this amount? And they say, fine, after you ask them if they had a minimum, which they weren't willing to give you. Well, that's like when you go to a pawn shop and they say, what do you want to sell this for? And you say, I don't know, just give me whatever it is that you've got. And they say, I'll give you $10, and you accept $10 when you could have maybe haggled for a little bit more.
Yep.
So it's on you what you're getting paid for now.
True.
You're the one who's showing up to the thing, and then now you're just going to go ahead and abuse the fact that this is going on in the first place. So it's
course
kind
they
of on them that some guy didn't pay $5 into the bin.
Yeah, of course.
And I knew I was
Should
going to
have
lose
taken
money.
it out of their minimum.
I
know. Yeah.
Well, what are you going to fucking do? I mean, in reality,
no,
no.
I know.
No, it's the first time you're doing a thing and all that stuff. But like, here's all the different variables that you got going on.
You should have
You've got a
expected
band
this.
you've got a band that was approached with the most amount of respect you possibly could approach a
You
band.
should have expected this.
In person, asking them what they would like to be paid to play for an hour.
Yes.
And then you give them a number, they accept it, and then they end up just going, well, some crazy guy is willing to pay us $100 to play in his basement for 1 hour.
So you should have expected this.
The thing
I know.
I'm no, but you're not working with me on what it is that happened here.
Oh, I understand.
Because
I now understand.
right. So it's clearly like, hey, we're all hanging out in some guy's basement. Like that's how we're taking it.
Yes.
You're like, all right, cool, that's fine. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you bringing other people in to also abuse that? That's when you go into a level of a certain level of disrespect. You can disrespect the thing when you're getting paid. That's fine. It's not okay for you to invite other people to disrespect the thing when there's an attempt at getting a thing going on. Not like I'm really putting it on them.
No,
it's
I know.
just some guy who didn't want to pay $5 and made a big shitty deal about it.
But also, have you met people?
I have.
I know.
Many a time.
They all do this.
They do. If
Yeah.
you get an opportunity to try and weasel your way out of something, you're going to take it.
Yep.
But over $5,
Yes.
$5 whole fucking dollars.
$5.
You probably pay that in shitty fast food that you're not willing to, cook
he
for
paid
yourself
it
at any
earlier.
given time.
He paid that on the way and on the way back. He probably would stop at McDonald's twice.
Well, I didn't hire 8 people. I hired 6.
It's true.
I didn't hire your photographer. You pay him.
Mm-hmm.
He's paying
that should
$5.
be the case. Yes.
It should be. You pay him, which you don't because you got an iPhone. It's clearly.
Yeah, why would you pay for that?
What level is a fucking professional?
Why would you pay for that? So please pay to come into the show.
So I ended up getting.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting 25 of my $100 back.
Ooh.
Which is not bad for the very first time in doing a thing and not pushing it appropriately because of the weird times that are going on.
Sure, yeah.
And not going, well, I went somewhat out of my way. Like I direct messaged a couple of people, but I was also worried about like strangers.
Yeah, of course. You don't want especially the first time you do it, you don't want a bunch of people showing up and cops getting called. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty lame for the first go around.
Yeah.
So I was accepting of the fact that it was a little bit, because I actually probably.
Did your neighbor say anything?
No, he enjoyed it. In fact, he just looked sad that he wasn't invited.
Oh.
I know. It was kind of, I saw it on his face, and I was like, I want to invite you, but I also don't want to invite you because I'm going to tell you to pay $5.
Yeah.
And you're not going to want
And you're not going
to
to want to pay $5 because you live right next door. And somehow that gives you carte blanche.
Yeah, even though we both plowed the driveway during the winter, so
He
I
did
don't know
fix
what
your
the
sink
complaint
once.
is. Fuck, I owe him. You're right.
Yep.
So,
sorry.
anyways, this is what this is. The thing is we're both aware that most of the gigs that you play as a
Yes.
local band are free
Yes.
for exposure.
Well, yes.
Somebody offers
I mean, that's,
you.
yeah. I don't see it that way, but yes, I know what you mean.
Somebody offers you any amount of money to play with hardly asking you to do much of anything.
Mm-hmm. If somebody were to do that, I'm always like, what's the catch?
The catch was it was in a basement.
No, I know that. But if somebody were to out of nowhere be like, I'm going to pay you this amount of money, you want to play? Why? What's going on? What are you doing?
It's for a porno.
cool.
No, what the fuck do you
Cool.
like? You know what?
No, I know, but that's why my
Yeah, but
initial
you know what?
reaction.
That's
would be
also
like, what?
fucked up because
Yeah.
that means that first off, I recognize that $100 is not a lot of money.
I'd still play for.
That means
$100.
that everybody's in dire straits to get paid anything.
anything.
Fucking
For a
stand-up
piece band, that's
comedians.
25 a
Stand-up
piece.
comedians travel 3 hours for a 20-minute set or whatever the fuck it is
Yeah.
to get paid only $50 for the night, and that's only covering the amount of money that they're going to have to spend on getting there
Right,
and
travel,
back,
yeah.
and then whatever food they probably also had to pay for at the bar.
Potentially, maybe they got free food, in which case they still broke even.
That's rare, and
Yeah.
you know it's
Yeah,
rare.
of course. Yeah.
It's incredibly rare to get. So when it comes to like local acts and that type of stuff, somebody offers you money, sure, fine, whatever. Maybe there's a catch.
I know. I'm just saying that's my first reaction. Is why? What are you hiding? What am I?
I'm just trying to do a thing.
No, I know you're trying to do something good.
Well, I don't know if it's good, but I'm trying to do a thing.
I mean,
If it turns out to be
music
good, then
is
hooray.
good.
Yeah, but you can create, evil. I don't know.
You can create evil.
On accident.
You can create evil.
You don't know if you created evil. You could.
You started the next Hitler band.
I didn't know what I was doing. I let this punk band play, and all of their songs were just entitled Sieg Heil 1.
They said
Sieg
it was
Heil
oi.
2.
They said it was oi. I didn't know what I was doing. They said they were the nice kind of skinheads.
I thought that song said, I hate juice. Like pulpy juice.
But then I read the lyrics.
I read the lyrics, and it kind of still seemed like it was, but it was just really cleverly hidden. It was really clever.
You know that thing that says a different word upside down as it does when it's right side up? It was kind of like that.
That love-hate thing. That tattoo.
Life, death.
Life, death. Love-hate. Ooh, dichotomy. Oh, what a fun experiment.
Ah.
Oh, I'm working the event. I was going to tell everybody everywhere I go I'm working the event.
You should. It'll
Yeah.
get you in.
They'd be like, we're not on the list. And it would be like, well, that's, because I'm working.
I'm working the event.
Yeah, I'm working the event. I was going to show up to a bakery. I'm working the event. Where are my scones?
I have a quick question for you.
Just ask it away.
If, hypothetically,
Oh, God.
you and a friend have birthdays that are very close together, and you were born in the same year.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of you was born on the 21st of the same month, and the other one was born on the 16th.
Okay.
Clearly, one of you is older than the other.
That is true.
Clearly. But let's just say if the person on the 21st was born a couple weeks late, and the person on the 16th was born a couple weeks early, do you think that would give you grounds to claim that you're older than somebody else?
That, you bring into the question, does life begin at conception?
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Doesn't it, though? This metaphorical question is actually me. I don't know if you could guess. I was born on the 21st of a month. You've already known if you've been listening to this enough. And a good friend of mine was born on the 16th of that same month. I was born late. He was born early. So I always contend I'm technically older than he is because I've been growing on this earth longer. To which case, he argues that that doesn't count. And now I have to argue the fact that life begins at conception in order to win the fact that I'm technically older than
This is
him.
the only time that you've probably ever made that argument.
100%.
Wow.
It usually ends up with me saying, I guess we don't see eye to eye because I'm a little bit taller than you are.
I say that life does begin at conception.
Ooh.
It does.
Oh.
It's just
I mean,
worthless.
yeah, it doesn't exist.
It's just mostly worthless until a certain time.
I mean, if you think about the facts that cells are alive,
No.
sure.
I'm saying that I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, no, it does.
So
I'm just saying
what
that it
you're
has
saying
no
is
value.
I'm definitely older than he is.
You are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah. It's just
That's all I want to know.
You gained value before he did.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's why.
So again, I've been growing on this earth long, and then it starts to make me think maybe we should count our age from conception, and then thinking, no, that's weird.
It would be.
That would be weird.
It would be.
Mom, what day? Mom, what day?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Come on. I
All
need
right,
to know.
fine. It was the 19th.
Yeah.
It's the 19th of July.
Yeah.
It adds up perfectly. We weren't fucking very much at the time.
I know the exact
It was really
day.
lucky. It was the only time that he drank.
And he could still get it up. It was weird. Anyway.
You can only get it up if he thinned the blood because he was eating fast food all the time.
Thicken it up.
Thin the blood. That's what the alcohol
Thicken
is
it
for.
up. I know.
Oh, but okay, so I see.
Yes.
Thinning the blood but thickening the cock.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh my.
He had a lot of cheese.
Ew.
Anyway.
Ew.
So, yeah. You know, that's stuff that's been going on. So, I will say one more thing.
Okay.
At least. And that is, I have one, count 'em one, single thing that Facebook will remind me about that I enjoy.
Wow.
And
there's
you know,
a lot of things it'll remind you about.
Well, yeah, every day it'll be like, this is what you did last year. And
Oh,
this is
yeah,
what you did
memories,
last
yeah.
year. And this is what you did 9 years ago. And there's one single post that I don't cringe at because I used to post on Facebook many years ago.
Oh.
I haven't in a long time. But there's one single post that just says, I wish we lived in an alternate universe where the only singular difference would be if Geezer Butler, the bass player of Black Sabbath, if his name was really Beezer Gutler.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And I love it because what a better world that would be. What a better world we would live in if the bass player of Black Sabbath was Beezer Gutler. Yes, it's dumb, but it's the only thing that will come back year after year that I look at and be like, that was gold. That was perfect Twitter gold, even though it was on Facebook.
I rediscovered, I say rediscovered because of what I'm going to explain, but the artist Thundercat,
Rules.
which I've listened to all of his albums. I'm not entirely sure the makeup of how it is that the albums come to be created. It may be entirely him. Is it entirely him? Do you know? Because he's
I
got
think
people to
it's
perform with him.
It is mostly him, but I
Yeah.
mean, he does have other people. But I think by and large, it is him.
And his shit is just
It's great.
fantastic because it's. I described it as the best fuck you music I've ever heard.
Hell yeah.
Because I mean, it is like fusion funk, sort
Mm-hmm.
of, maybe even a little bit hip hop.
Yeah. Again, he's like the new better Bootsy Collins.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, that's because we were talking about it earlier that
Yeah.
you were able to say that. You should just say he's a better Bootsy Collins.
Well,
because they don't know that we were talking about it an hour ago.
I said it the same way I said it an hour ago. Was like he's like the new better Bootsy Collins.
Okay, so
and I love Bootsy Collins, but I just think Thundercat is pretty fucking great.
Yeah, he is. But I didn't know that I already knew who he was. But only because Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yes.
There is when they updated the radios, there was like 2 new radio stations added, and one of them had even Hannibal Buress.
Yes.
Like as a comedian, like he just shows up in it, and it's actually I think Hannibal Buress is talking, and it's Bootsy Collins who is running the station.
Awesome.
And they have a Thundercat song playing.
Of course.
And the Thundercat song is called Shit, It's X. It's called Oh Shit, It's X. And the song is he takes a pill and finds out it's ecstasy as the song goes on. And it's just a fucking wicked gangster funk ass song. It's just so good.
Cool as hell.
And he's just like, and the song just ends on, oh shit, I'm fucked up. It's so good. And he just like, he sings in like this falsetto kind of a thing. And he's got, people doing harmonies, but he's probably also got like that pedal that gives you harmonies when you sing into it. I don't know if you ever had one of
harmonizer.
those.
There's a couple of those.
Those things are sick.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
They're great.
It's like, it's every album is just constant. Hey, did you know that you could just write whatever you want?
Pleasure. You know.
Did you know that you can write whatever you want and it'll be fun and it'll be and all the songs can be really
and still
intricate
like
and
technical.
enjoyable.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're technical and yet at the same time they are just easy.
Yeah.
Easy listening. They don't hurt you.
Yeah, it's not Steve Vai, even though it's just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's better than Steve Vai. Come on. Let's go right ahead.
I
and say
was
that.
just,
I
I
am
more
saying,
meant technicality-wise, like
Okay.
technicality-wise, just as good, if not
Who
better.
even gives a shit about Steve Vai's
The
technicality?
point being that most fun music is very laid back.
Oh, like pop.
Yeah, well, not even, but like
It says pop vibes in
Yeah,
the way
no.
that stuff is delivered.
I more mean fun as in if somebody's not being serious. Often pop is taking it very seriously, even though it's fun music. You know,
Seriously, you're right.
yeah.
Isn't that weird?
But like things like your Tenacious D's, your blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, and not to say that Tenacious D's the easiest shit ever, but it's not technical most of the time.
No,
you know,
it is
like
there's a lot based in lyrics and what the song is
correct.
about.
But where
as a
Thundercat
piece.
has that that Zappa like feel because it's very technical, but he's also not taking himself very seriously, which is great. You know?
Yes.
And it's a different vibe than Zappa completely, but I think they're a good comparison.
Zappa almost flips around to actually retaking himself seriously.
Yes, yeah.
Which
well,
is funny.
He more dares you to take him seriously.
But
you know?
he is taking
Yes.
himself
Yeah,
seriously,
He's a
which
weird
is
guy.
so
He's-
wild that somebody could be so not serious and
Yes.
yet circle back around to I'm not ironic. It's actually not ironic.
I'm unironically
I'm actually
metaphorical.
unironically. Yeah.
Yeah, Thundercat's great. I will also throw out a recommendation
Sure.
because fucking Danny Elfman put out a goddamn music album last Friday and it rules. Everybody
I'll listen to it.
listen to it. It's great. It's like Danny Elfman joined Fantomas in a few parts.
Fantoma. That's so funny. I was just recommended the fucking
Fantomas, yeah.
flamingo. What is it? The one with the like chopsticks and a flamingo on it. Fantomas. No, Fantomas is Mike Patton.
Patton,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yes, correct.
He's in
Yeah.
like every band.
I know. It's great.
He's in like every
that
single
man.
one.
Yeah.
I forgot about Fantomas. Holy
Yeah.
shit! I only just heard like one of those like a week ago and forgot about how
Oh my
crazy
God,
that is.
dude.
No, I've heard it
Every
before.
Fantomas
I've,
album is great,
I've
but-
heard it before, but
Yeah.
like you know how recommendations work on the internet. Like eventually
I know.
it shows you
They
the
come
same
back
things
around.
again.
Yeah. Fantomas is great, but I just mean like because Danny Elfman hasn't put out like a music record in 30 years that wasn't like a music score because he's just been doing movie scores for the past 30 fucking years since the 90s, like early 90s, and it's so fucking great and like interesting and fresh because he so clearly starts being like, well, let's make a pop song but fuck it up on this one. And on this one, let's redo an old Oingo Boingo track, but cooler. And then on this one, let's go nuts. This one's my Fantomas. This one's my crazy metal, weird song.
That's a bunch of Looney Tunes sounds
it's
throughout the whole song.
Yeah, yes, it's fucking great, and I love it. And it's also great seeing like an old ass man be cool. You know what I mean?
He'll never not be cool.
Yeah, and I don't know. I love it because I've always loved Danny Elfman. I love Oingo Boingo.
Me too.
I love all his music tracks, like his scores and shit. They're so great, and it's so nice to see him be fresh again. Because even on his music scores, I think he's been a little like repetitive, like lately, you know, like within the past 10 years or whatever, you know. But I think that's more because the movies themselves don't hold up as well. Like, oh great, he did Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, you know, like you know what I mean. But either way, it's fucking great. Listen to it. I love every second of it. And you know, it's not like he got rid of the orchestra. He still uses that, but it's still mostly him and a guitar, which is cool. It's cool. I think we can cap it.
You know what? That's okay. Because I
mean, unless you got something to say.
I don't.
All right.
I'm actually kind of
Okay.
at a loss for tangents, so I'll have to really get serious about it next week.
No, I mean, we could talk more.
I guess I got nothing.
Okay. Well, let's not talk more.
This feels good.
Yeah, I thought it felt concise. Look, don't ever say that word, devil's advocate, to me. Okay?
Devil's advocate.
You are
Devil's advocate.
You are
totally
you are
fine to say.
belittling the people
Devil's
that it's meant to
advocate.
describe.
It's not belittling people.
How dare you say that word to me?
Devil's advocate is not how dare you at all.
I know. I'm aware.
Devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate.
Have a good
I'll
night.
never forget.